for this one simple reason.
Nope.
Ah,
Oh,
I persist. I think Chris has been kicking me out on purpose at the start of streams. Hello, everybody. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and 10 bricks of aberrance to that 6+++ show. I'm your host, Tom. We haven't made enough content lately, so we thought let's make some more content. Me, John, and Dave were just like, oh, let's absolutely do a live stream. I've done a live stream in 12 hours. So here we are. We're back again. It's awesome though, because it's a really cool balanced Dataslate, and we're going to rattle through it for you and talk through all the changes. There's lots to be excited about. I think it's a really fun time in the game. Going into Christmas, all these changes. Who knows what's going on? Who knows what's coming next? I think that's really cool. So we'll endeavour to do so. Obviously, you in the chat have the power to guide us. If you're super chatters, a couple of quid, whatever else, we'll talk about whatever you want. You just put the question in, we'll answer it. If there's particular issues with the data set you want explored, we're happy to unpack it and go through it. Obviously, all the support is really welcome. It helps us square away and justify the extra shifts. We did really appreciate all the money for Botox and lawyers' fees that we got given yesterday on the show with Black Crow Gaming. It's actually, I'm not going to lie, one of my favourite episodes we've made. It was really silly. I wasn't there. It was really silly.
Yeah, they're good ones.
I threatened a child. It's really good. Chat is absolutely kicking off. So welcome everybody in chat. Then we'll dive into it. 420 Central is here. You're cool.
Blazing.
Like you. Theo's in. Lovely to have you back, Theo. Sam Dunn is in. Brain Cellar's in. Craving some hot takes. Gordon's in. Calling us the Three Musketeers. Absolutely. And that makes Chris like D'Artagnan or whoever the leftover one is.
No, he's Connor Rishi.
Lawrence Simpson says, built that Russell ready, mate. Chris Cat says hello. Theo says, you did indeed. Yes, Theo is the child I threatened just to... Sorry about that, Theo. It was an honest misunderstanding.
Sure.
Okay, right. Let's get into it. John, do you have some semblance of how we want to go through this? Do you have a plan? You're a man with a plan?
Originally, I had a plan that I was going to do loads of slides for it, and then they dropped a shite load of changes, which are all really appreciated and lovely, but it just killed the time I had to do it. So
sure, no problem at all.
I've got it up here, but we can just kind of skim over the best bits, I guess.
Yeah, and it's the red changes are the new ones, right? That's the key thing.
It's nice and straightforward.
Brain Seller rightly asked, still no Moth index. Moth is in the pipeline. We're doing it. I've spoken with the Moth chat. We're doing a live stream. We're going to write Codex Moth. We're going to get that rolling. That's going to happen. Probably a Christmas thing. And get that in the mix and start playtesting Codex Moth ready for its release on April Fool's Day next year. So that'll be really fun. Are Votan good yet? James Brothen. Yeah, they are in like the most boringest of ways, which in this hobby we call winning by standing still. If you stand still and everyone else gets worse, you're better. Does it feel good? No, but you are. And that's very much where Votan at for this one. Although fans of Thunderkid, get ready for some mildly positive news. Right, okay then, John. Stratagems that allow a closer setup range. You all know 3-inch deep strike. It's gone. It's in the bin. It's dead. It's 6-inch deep strike now. What do we think of this, boys?
6-inch deep strike OP. Must be 9-inch.
What I think is just like the actual proper killing blow to it, though, is that all the instances I've read so far just say in your movement phase.
Yes.
It's not even like rapid ingress. So it's literally like it's such a niche little thing now. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Well, way to kill that fun, guys.
Yeah, I think it's going to change massively the way that works. 6 inches is so easy for a lot of armies to screen. Like it's trivial. It's honestly trivial. And ultimately, you're not going to get those proper in-behind bamboozlings. You're not going to steal objectives off people because you literally can't. There's a bunch of edge cases for the 3-inch deep strike that was super powerful. I've got an RIP GSC and for the first time today, but not for the last. I'm going to say this doesn't really bother me as a GSC player. If I'm playing Host of Ascension, 6 inches is fine because what I am dropping on you is a death brick of neophytes who are going to shoot you to death. So I don't mind whether that's on the point or not.
It's like when you kill terrorists or radicals, and you just create more radicals, right? So this is what Thomas. Yeah.
The Hydra.
Exactly that. We'll get to. I say I'm honestly, guys, I'm pretty high on GSC still after this. I've been through a journey, but we'll get to that later. The next thing, so as I say, I think 6 inch it's going to be relevant. It'll have its moments. But more as working things into play than as like, oh, I'm getting in behind and I'm scoring. I think that's going to be a lot rarer. You'll still do it against players that can't screen. But you were doing loads of things against players that can't screen. And you still won't do them in the games that are really tough.
I'm personally, I didn't mind 3-inch deep strike, but the fact that
I
it's
didn't mind it.
not that asked.
I
It
think
needed to be sparing.
if they made an error, they'd just put it in too many things. I think that was the issue. I think
Probably.
they put it in too many places. I think it's a big loss for Hypercrypt, but Necron players will console themselves with their awesome new detachment, which we've still not reviewed. That's really, really powerful. So that's stratagems that allow closer setup. Next one's a doozy. I like this. Can you guess why? Stratagems that worsen armor penetration. They now only work for the activation they're being used against, not against every single one after. So if you park your 2-up save, you pop your AOC, that's all well and good. But after the activation you've used it on, you might just get shot again or punched again. And it might not save you quite as much before.
Well, I think you touched on a good thing there, Tom. I think this is more. I think shooting armies love this. I think melee armies don't necessarily love it as much.
Exactly, because melee always has these like 101 moments, doesn't it? In a game, and unless you're absolutely getting piled on, it's not quite the same. So I think this does change things for shooting armies. This is a big nerf to armies that want to just jam 2-up saves and use AOC to just leverage absorption of damage all the time. John's making a big sad face. Do you do that, John?
I've just gotten into Stormlance, and now I've got one stratagem in Stormlance to play.
Yeah, me too, man.
I think this is where for this one, it's not that you can't benefit from it. You have to play it differently. So how are you going to get more use out of this now, John?
By not being brainless with it.
Exactly.
I think that's the important thing.
If you control the activations an opponent is getting into your unit, this is still really good. That is what a good 40k player should be doing anyway. And what this punishes is people who go, I shove this here, you can't kill it anyway, I win the game. If you're actually picking your engagements carefully and not allowing a massive amount of your opponent's forces to blast you, this is still good. But it's not as strong as before. So I'm happy with this. We know how I feel about stat checks. Ignore all my recent bat reps. I don't like them. I'm again. I didn't use AOC once in any of those. I'm saying
you didn't need to. You were smothering your
I just had army-wide stealth in both games.
It's fine.
Oh man. Hello, Noga Matthew. Lovely to have you here. Didn't know you guys did stuff like that. Yeah, we're trying to do more of this stuff. We're trying to do more of the live stream stuff. I think we've got a bit of an appetite for it. Obviously, we've had a great year with YouTube members and support and other things, and we're just thinking we want to give more because we've been given more, give more, get more. It's all the same. On that note, please do hit like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you'd like to sign up as a YouTube member and support us, we will love you. Christmas is coming, and we'll love you forever.
Guys, we're only like 1,000 away from 8,000.
Yeah, exactly. We're on the cusp of 8,000 tonight. If we can
that was my goal this year.
I think we only need 989 to
That's
get.
a really good in-joke for anyone who's been watching the last 7 episodes.
I will field a few of the questions in the chat, and then we'll move it on. Because chat, you are our lives. We love you. Sanders says, do we think the era of infiltrators and other 12-inch deny units in every faction where they exist is done? Have they lost almost all value? No, absolutely not. I think infiltrators are still good. I think you still want them. They're not as essential. I actually don't think 12-inch deny units that aren't infiltrators have ever been good. Be that the two techno-archaeologists in AdMech, I can see it. Clamavus and GSC, I've never rated it. I don't think you actually need it for what they do. But infiltrators, the thing is, you can still just cover your whole backfield with them, and that's still great. That's just still really good for an army as elite as that. And it does give you a shove forward option into someone who's put too many reserves down as well. So I think Marines still like them. Oninada says, this punishes 3-up save combat units massively. Yeah, it's interesting. I just think, again, in good 40k, are you letting your good combat units get hit by several other enemy combat units in a turn? You shouldn't be. So you should have an AOC that works.
Exactly.
You should have an intervention that's coming in. You should be causing all sorts of problems if you're playing combat to the maximum. That a lack of being able to survive multiple turns of getting smacked. You shouldn't. I'd say in general, try not to be in those situations.
That's what transports are for, right? That's what I've started looking
at.
Measuring
threat ranges.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I can totally see this concern, and I'll be interested to see if it slightly fades out in terms of how often it's used. Arad asks, hi Arad, lovely to have you here. Appreciate it. Do you think we're going into a Reaver meta now? I really like Reavers.
John,
I really like Reavers. Theo says he's going to unsubscribe. Theo, when will this end, man? When will this end? Nightbot's in. Nightbot's going to settle.
Oh, hi, Nightbot. How you doing?
There's lots to be excited about. And yes, cheers to you, Noga Matthews. I've indulged myself with a beer. I love Dataslate night. It's always fun. It's always a good time. I'm in a good mood. So let's get into what's happened to the factions. As ever, we will fast track to your army if you chuck us a super chat. We'll go and read it right now. Even give you extra commentary. So Adeptus Sororitas, Miracle Dice, gaining a Miracle Dice. It becomes start of each battle round. It becomes end of each phase if one or more Sisters units was destroyed. So that's less generation of dice. Slightly dials back the generation of dice. I don't think this is as radical as a dial back in some as we've seen, but it definitely is a dialing back. And then you've got Saint Celestine. Each time you gain one Miracle Dice at the start of the round, if this model is on the battlefield, do not roll a dice. It has a value of 6. I think this was 2 before, was it? It might have been. I'm not sure. Either way, it's nerfs to their overall ability to generate Miracle Dice, which my understanding is Sisters players have been a bit sad about, which is fair enough. And then we've got...
So the range has become 6-inch?
Yeah, range has become 6.
Strength.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, what's that actually even targeting at?
So that's when they are getting the extra strength on their assault weapons. So it was 12
so rather
before?
Was it? Okay. Or was it half range before?
I think it was half range.
Half range, yeah. So it's slightly cutting down the AP output. That feels quite tough on bringers at the moment. But I guess AOC going down does mean swings and roundabout, right?
Yeah.
Although that hurts bringers as well. Sorry, bringers. All the strats are getting more expensive. Now it feels like they're kind of punching them a bit, if I'm honest. Yeah. And then finally, there is a tiny change to Penitent Host. You can select one of the following vows. You don't have to burn through your vows at the start of the game. So I like Penitent Host. We'll have a look. We'll probably, I think for the point, it's going to make sense to rattle through Goonhammer rather than doing it this way because this is going to be difficult. But that's Sisters. Sisters, how do we feel about Sisters?
I feel like they've actually had... I know it's an emotional topic when your army's given a bit of a slap.
Yeah.
But I feel they've gotten off quite lightly. Like, it's uncomfortable, but I feel like it's something where you dust yourself off and you just kind of recalibrate what your lists do if you need to, or try the other detachments. You know, there is other ones in the book.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know that sucks, but at the same time, it was quite miserable playing against a really well-tuned Bringers of Flame list because there was no consequences. It just went, I'm going to push forward. I'm going to shoot you. Oh, you've hidden something. I'll just shoot you with Exorcists. It's not pleasant.
Yeah. They have been on the down. They've definitely been on the down. I would say that for Bringers. I think I would say they were probably not a mile off a balanced spot already. So it does feel nasty to get hit. So I'm sympathetic to Sisters players, but the evolution goes on, right? I think that's where we're at with it.
Yeah, agree.
Sam Dunn has chucked in a £2 super chat, and that means, Sam, we'll do as you say. Slate updates to Tau and Blood Angels.
I'll do Tau for you.
Okay, what happened to Tau, John?
Nothing. They're perfectly balanced.
Cool. Should we check if anything happened for Blood Angels?
Yeah.
It might be that he's given us £2 to say that nothing happened. That's my guess.
Blood Angels, perfectly balanced.
Blood Angels got no changes.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it?
They get some points changes.
They do get some points changes. Yeah. Sangard getting cheaper is the headline.
Yes,
and I have seen some people posting lists with 18 Sangard in. And all I want to say is, when people were moaning about Sangard like a few weeks ago, I was like, as soon as they adjust those points, people are going to take 18 because they are already fine. That is a perfectly good unit. Now it's cheap. Now we might see loads of them. We'll see. I'm quite intrigued.
I wanted the stuff around them to be cheaper, if that makes sense.
Thank you very much, Sam. We love you. And as ever, to anybody else, if you want us to do your faction next, just chuck us a super chat. We'll happily cover it. All right, John, let's wind it back up top. We'll come back to Blood Angels when we do the points in more depth.
Back up we go to the Custodes.
So, I mean, it's a lot for Custodes.
Yeah.
You've got buffs to the jet bikes, getting more wounds, going to T7, which is good. Wounds characteristic 8 for the captain on the bike. Much more meaningful weapon profile for the jet bikes, whether you take the bolter or the salvo, they're both much better.
Yeah.
And 5 wounds, 7 T7 bikes. The first time I played against the Custodes bikes in 10th, I was absolutely crushed at how easy to kill they were. Like, it was nuts. It was bonkers. Like, I've never loved Custodes, and people who watch this show will know that. Yeah, people will know that. But Kasodi's bikes are quite magnificent, and I am a bit sad when they're not around. Hopefully, this and the Dreadnoughts detachment means we're going to see some more Golden Boys. I think it's super, super cool. And obviously, I think they've changed it so you can now do your Mortal Wound flyovers with a normal move. You don't just have to advance.
Yeah.
So they just become much more flexible all around. I think this is awesome for Custodians.
Did they get points changed? They didn't get points changes, did they?
I don't think so. I'll double check that when we do that. Sorry, I thought we were going to be doing this in a slightly different way. So we've got the
Sorry.
the ad. No, don't worry about it at all. So the AdMech, this isn't new, is it? This is all the same.
No, that's new.
So we can carry on down AdMech as you were. I think
Same
AdMech
with
probably
Eldar.
feeling pretty good off the back of this.
Yeah, I'd be feeling good if I was an AdMech player.
We got a question from Paul Bridge, the very best Paul Bridge, the true Paul Bridge. With 6-inch deep striking, if you have to come in at 6 inches, how does that work with units tower that get a bonus for coming to 6? Where do you draw the line? That's a good question. I think you'd have to be within, so I don't think you'd get this.
No.
So that then tells me if you want to benefit from your melter, you need to be rapid ingressing those units.
That is exactly correct. Yep, 100%. I think Tau catch strays here because Ret Cadra's been doing well, but it's not been broken, and that's a bit rough for them. Sympathy for Tau today. That's the line. Sandan says bikes went up in points. To be honest, that's fine. If they're much better, that's fine. You don't want too many of them on the table.
Pay for quality, not for shite, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got some changes for guard coming up by the look of it. So Aquilons have to come in your movement phase, so the ingress things confirm. 6 inches away now. I think this is really bad for Aquilons, to be honest. I think this really hurts their utility. And then regiment units and squadron units are what Leontus can order orders to. So I think that's going to hurt Ogren and Bulgrin, is my understanding. I think they aren't orderable from him now.
No. Which I think makes sense.
Which is fine. I'll be honest, this and the sister ship, there's a couple of changes here where I feel like that's a bit late and maybe not needed. The Leontus nerf feels a bit harsh, along with the sisters one, because I think we don't even see Bulgrin about much now. And if you do, it's one squad. And you know what? I don't mind one squad of Bulgrin in the guard list. It feels fine. So I think that might be a bit too much. But we'll see. Black Templars. Repulsor Executioner gets its expanded transport section. Sweet. Go nuts.
Last time round.
Mental.
It's got a side
Absolutely crazy. Yep. And Crusader squads get, and we're going to see a few of these, little snicky knives go to AP1.
Yeah.
They're knives. They should have always had AP1.
All intercessors, all the Space Marines that have got some sort of combat blade now have that.
Yeah.
Great shot.
Absolutely.
Just not you Hounds and Morkai.
Yeah, completely. So I think that's a perfectly solid change. Then we've got Chaos Knights. Some changes to
The wording of the main
ability. Just nudging around on Harbingers. I think that's in line with the way they're doing things around objectives right now with control, objective control and how it's measured. I am no Chaos Knights expert. Oh yeah, it's listed. The objective stickiness thing. I think that's fairly minor, to be honest. Yeah. Who wants to see a really fun one? Chaos Space Marines. Let's go down to Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah.
Someone remembered that Night Lords exist because they went back and changed the Night Lords detachment so that you can't 3-inch deep strike. Probably the only thing the Night Lords detachment had going for it is gone. And
oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, and you can do your battle shot that won't work from 9 away. So they have nudged that up. And then we see another rule change, and this is something I think people need to keep an eye on. This is the Chaos Predator Annihilator.
Yeah.
It gains reroll damage rolls against monsters and vehicles.
Yeah.
In CSM,
yeah,
with all the things CSM can make a Predator do, this is interesting because that means 6 Predators becomes a very real thing. I am very sure that 6 Predators is a core of a list in CSM now. I think you can definitely build lists that work because that gives you proper long-range anti-tank. The issue with the Destructors is it's 2 las cannon shots, right? And then you're relying on an auto cannon to kill a target that it's typically not good at. And Vindicators have to get a lot closer. So this means cheap, longer range shooting for CSM is suddenly much more possible. And I think that might open up a bit of space in CSM builds. It's actually exactly the kind of bemoaning I've had with it, where it's like it feels like by the time I've got my guns sorted, I don't have enough to play the game in front of me. And then you can obviously do
ones as well.
Yeah, exactly. And this is across the board. I think Predator Annihilators with this, and at their cheaper point, they start to look very tempting to just plug 1 or 2 in for quite a few different armies. Cool, nice. Chaos Demons. I think there were a couple of little sneaky, spicy changes here. Here we go. Look, so you got Screamers. If you go down to Screamers, They hit on 3s now.
Yeah.
With their AP2 damage 2, but they become anti-monster 4, anti-vehicle 4.
Oh, that is grim.
Yeah.
They do get a nudge up as a result.
They
as well,
do, but this is nice for Screamers. I really like this. They're one of my favourite Demons units.
It gives them a purpose, right?
Yeah.
Before they're just kind of like a cheap-ish unit that does something, that fills space.
Yeah, a lot of demon
got an
units
actual
were doing
role.
the same thing, weren't they?
Yeah. Chris Cad has spotted that Chaos Knights get their debuffs from the start of the game. That's awesome, Chris. Good spot.
That's solid.
That's nice. That is very nice for them. Chaos Knights has been a funny spot, haven't they? They've got such a good notebook, and people just haven't quite been sated with them. John, do you want to take us through Dark Angels, mate? What's going on?
Right. So Company of Hunters, the detachment that you've only ever seen once played at the World Championships, where it surprised everyone. That's actually had a change to its detachment rule. It used to be just starter units from your army could shoot in a turn that they advanced or fell back.
Yep.
It's now that, but also the mounted units can charge, advance, and fall back and shoot.
Oh, sweet. Okay, nice.
So it's given a purpose to the bikes, and then as a result, the enhancement, which here says Master and Maneuver, it's action error. There's an actual name for it, but it's the one that basically gave you the being able to shoot and charge. Is now just reroll advance and charge rolls.
Yeah, perfect.
It probably needs a points change though, because it's still listed as 30 points, which I think is a bit shy. But...
yeah, that's fair.
And then the other 3 changes are the Lion. His 16 attack sweep is now damage 2.
That's really nice.
But he has gone up for the privilege.
Yes.
And
yeah, I think that's well worth it though, right? Being able to just cull you away. Shitting hell. 16 attacks with sustained hits at damage 2.
That's the challenge. It's like I feel like people are already wobbling.
Right,
with
I want it on record. I've heard a lot of moaning about the Lion's
Yeah.
sweep attack.
Yeah.
I have
It's
never
awful.
before seen that it was previously 16 attacks with sustained hits, strength 6, AP3 in an army with 4 rerolls to hit.
Yeah.
That is already good. And
Yes.
you're all terrible people for complaining about that in the first place. That is phenomenal.
It
That is
struggles sometimes to
absolute-
kill 5 2-wound models, though. That's the thing.
It just means it's not good at specifically killing 2. He'll have to fall back on his 8 attacks.
That's apparently what they
AP4
decided to
damage
put it
4.
That's normally what I was
Just
that
make it
makes-
feel like on the spaceship, other Marines are just like picking on him
Yeah.
because he can't kill them in one shot. It's like,
This is he can go through a 10-man of Marines now on his
oh,
own.
yeah.
And that's what I was
that's
not
a
worried
lot.
about.
Horus
That's a lot.
Heresy levels of killing power.
The thing is, he's not designed
Marines
to kill the
players,
things
man.
people wanted him to kill. Like, he can't kill Terminators. He can try to, but half the time they bounce. And that's fine.
That's fair. That's fair.
And then...
Anyway,
Ringwood
how are you
Black
feeling about
Knights,
the Lion with that buff? Is that good?
My first kind of read of it was like, he's gone up, but I'm happy because that's what I wanted. Like,
Yeah,
to me,
30-point
that
rise,
makes
as
perfect.
Olinada says, to essentially double your damage output in a bunch
I'm
of
fine with
contexts
that.
is pretty good. Black Knight's getting dev wounds.
Yes. So this is on their combat weapons. So
Yeah.
they are only damage 1, but they are anti-vehicle monster 4 up, I want to say.
Ah,
When they
okay.
charge. on their deck sheet.
Okay.
It's not like
So
on
that's
anti-monster tag.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
It's
Because I
very
feel like they want to,
thematic,
they
David.
can get in and just finish the job with a few attacks now into the into a target. I like that a lot.
And then Samael's trait that he has, instead of it being, it used to be what they've gained as a detachment ability now.
Yeah.
For him, it's if they're already able to shoot and declare a charge in a turn of which they advanced, they add 1 to the advance and charge rolls made for that unit instead. So
Nice,
it's got
okay.
layers, which is nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Sam Dunn says, I swear Dark Angels players won't be happy until their whole army is damaged 2 base. That sentence was longer than it
And
needed to
minus
be.
1
You
damage.
nailed it at Dark Angels players won't be happy, Sam. You didn't need to go further.
We'll never be happy.
Yeah,
4 pinball, -1 damage.
Yeah, it's like,
Can only
I
win on 4s.
already had a unit that was 2 up save, 4 wounds, -1 damage. And I'm like, I want it to be
But
better.
I want 3 units of that and the Lion for 1,000 points, please.
Yeah, sweet Jesus. Right, okay. So Death Guard, I think it's minor. If you scroll back up, John,
Yeah.
what we've got is
Oh,
they
no.
get the same predators as everyone else. So
no, it's not
again, 6 predators in Death Guard. I'm not joking. I feel like that's the thing. Because I was thinking of a Predator, Destructors, and Defilers list for Plague Company, because obviously I'm a Defilers
Hate
main
you.
now. But this is like, why spend all those points when you can have 3 Predator Annihilators instead, just sat at the back, just blapping away?
And they
So
can
I think
move
Predator
out.
spam. Yeah, I think you could make a very good like ITT team now, where you had like bordering on 24 to 30 Predators in your team. And I think that would be really funny. So Teams is so good.
Thanks, Tom. I'll paint my other 3 that I've got sat on sprue.
And then the other clutch one.
I hate this one.
Is Deep Striking Mortarion. I love this. I think that's funny.
This is a stealth buff to moths, because this is a moth.
Yeah, this is proper moth. This is. I think. I do think because he's a little bit slow and ponderous. Into certain matchups where he can just get hoovered, it's quite nice to be able to enter him into the game a bit more flexibly and strategically.
Yeah.
So I think there are a few edge cases you'll do this. I
was surprised that he didn't already have it, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess he does have big wings, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What I can say is I've not seen the Death Guard community campaigning for Mortarion to have Deep Strike. So I'm very curious where this idea has come from. But why not? Let him fly. He's got massive wings.
You can have a scout moving army with constant stealth, and then once you just connect with your opponent, then your Primarch drops down and just goes, ha, you're in trouble now. We're going to ignore your -1 to hit.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I enjoy that. Alrighty, guys, we're going to keep it moving. As ever, if you do want an army covered or you have a question, bung us a super chat. We'd massively appreciate it. Do hit like and subscribe, leave a comment as well. We'll try and boost up the algorithm on this one.
Yeah, anything more in depth you want to see as well?
Yeah, anything you want in depth. So this will now be a bit of a monologue, so get ready. Here's Gene Stealer Cults. So it's changed. It's changed massively. And the long and short of it is that in the games of 40k that we play, which is 2k, you now get 10 resurgence points to spend in the game. And when a unit dies, you can spend some of those points to put it in reserves the same way Cult Ambush had previously been doing. Right? Instead of rolling a dice for it, you just say, I'm going to now put that back into reserves to recur. And if you look through the points there, you've got 5 points for 5 aberrants. So you could spend all of your points on 2 squads of 5 aberrants. On a 10-man aberrant, it's 8. 5-man Acolyte squads are 2. 10-mans are 4. Jackals is 3 and 6. Neophytes is 3 and 6. Pure Strain Gene Stealers is 3 and 6. Now, at first glance, I was a bit worried because I was thinking about how GSC have played in since people started figuring the book out. And the honest answer is you deliberately push out about 3, 4, 5 units in turns 1 and 2 to get killed to recur, because that maxes your odds, right? You push a lot of the army out, half of it is coming back on average. I use that to then leverage the counter response, everything else. That's a very stupid way to play 40k because it involves getting killed on purpose. And that's why it took people a while to figure the book out, because you're supposed to get killed on purpose to actually maximize that Cult Ambush. You no longer have to do that because now you can res things when you want to res things. You don't have to sacrifice things to get res going. So you're going to go back to actually playing proper 40k, right? You don't have to expose things. You expose things on your own terms. Secondly, you can fundamentally know in any list you write the options you have for bringing things back, and you can play around that in a particular game. You can tailor what you bring back based on what you're playing against. Do you want Metamorphs back because they've got a bunch of damaged Wound 2 Space Marines? Do you want Aberrants back? Do you just need the Chaff back to hoover up Elves with Hand Flamers? Whatever it is. And for your secondary scoring, you can bring back 1 or 2 cheap units. This has a lot of play, as is. I think it's going to be... You're going to design lists to exploit it, and there's going to be much more of a mini-game in terms of when and how you use assets now. GSC will be getting usually about 300 points of stuff back. No more than that. Sometimes less. With these points, obviously they could get as much as 1,600 points back before. I know, I was there. I lived that.
Go for it.
But this is still good because it just means you can build your list differently. GSC still have a lot of great units, a lot of great tools, a lot of great tricks in their detachments. So I think they'll be just fine. I think it's quite fun. You can build a list now where you've got like three 10 bricks in, where before your brain was going, I'll be sad if I don't make my roll to get that back. Now your brain is going, if I really want that back, I can just make sure I do get it back. And that's a very different way of looking at it. And it means actually the list will be more diverse. It's not just go wide MSU. You can have your 10 bricks in the lists. You can use them for specific roles. And you can have different build plans and res plans depending on what you play. So there's a lot of agency in this for a GSC player. I think it's really cool. And good news, you can balance them through this as well. You can just adjust how expensive something is or how cheap something is.
Yeah.
Without changing the points. As far as the rest of the stuff for GSC, they extended the range of various things. demolition charges had to go to 8-inch range because obviously you can only deep strike in 6 now. So demo charges got longer range. That's just a nice little accident. Demo charges are fun, right? We like demo charges. No harm getting a longer range on the old demo charge. I think the Kellamorph got his shoot. Oh, he's been fucked again. Poor Kellamorph. So he was.
It's now 9, right?
Yeah. So the Kellamorph when they launched it, the Kellamorph was rubbish because he was a low-knot with a 12-inch gun. And then they fixed him by giving him the ability to shoot something that came within 12, so he could then run away. Now they've broken him again by making him only able to shoot if they come within 9, so you can just go within 12 and shoot him. So the Kellamorph just seems to either be pointless or great, and he's back to being pointless as far as I'm concerned. Just take Sanctus. I'm loving the Sanctus right now. He's cheaper. I really like it. I think he's great.
And if he falls back, it's D6, so there's the chance that he won't run out far enough, right?
I mean, and again, the opponent just shouldn't be triggering this. They just stand outside, stand within low knot, but outside his range and just kill him. So it's like, what are you doing? Okay, if we just scroll up, John, there's a couple other bits for GSC. They got a lot of love and attention. Xeno Creed Congregation, you might recognise that as the detachment we have seen played the least, gets 2 additional resurgence points. That's part of their rule. So that's part of the enhancement that was previously buffing the battle line res. So I think there's probably some very good lists in Xeno Creed exploiting having 12 resurgence points. Outlander Claw got its OC nudged down. I think it's adding 1, not doubling it.
That feels
fair enough. Yeah. I've actually not seen a lot of Outlander out there lately, so this feels another late change. There's a few in here. I feel like you missed that. It's a meta that was changed, if I'm honest. Not meta that is, but that's okay. And Tunnel Crawler's got changed to 6-inch in line with everything else. So that's GSC. It's a lot of change. I honestly just think they're still good. I feel like they're still good. We'll just have to see what other armies emerge. Cool. Nothing for... Sorry, you go, Davey.
As you say, mate, they've got more agency, right? You can build an army and go, okay, I'm going to go... These are the meta threats at the moment. Yep. I'm going to be ready for... These are the things I'm thinking about taking. I'll bring him back if I'm going against, for example, I don't know, Dark Ages, whatever.
Yeah. Exactly, that's it. And it's just, I think, what it will nudge you towards is a more flexible toolkit in your list, and I think that's awesome. I think that's really fun. There was nothing for Grey Knights in here, so Colexis Assassin's got a little change there, John?
Yeah, so it's just making it a 6-inch deep strike in your movement phase. So
sure.
Bring it all in
bring it in line. Cool. Let's keep on down.
Yeah. So nothing for big knights because they're perfect as they are.
Necron's obviously. It's an Annihilation Legion buff. What does this mean?
So this is each time a destroy a cult unit from your army makes a ranged attack. If it targets the closest eligible target, you add 1 to your AP. So that's pretty sweet, isn't it? Top of AOC being less impactful.
That's pretty killy.
Nice.
That's pretty killy.
Is it the least played Necron detachment?
Yeah. It is.
The one I love the most.
It's the coolest one. It's the one we've seen the least, and it will now be the one that Necron's players feeling bad about the Star Shatter thingy will play while they're doing their penance.
Yeah, we were trying to avoid James Marston for a while because he was playing that, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And Hypercrypt have had their hyperphasing nudged down to 2 units.
Yeah.
Honestly, Hypercrypt, I'm done with Hypercrypt. I've had enough Hypercrypt. It's been around a lot. It's been around a lot.
To get the 3rd unit, right?
Yeah. It's still got 3. It's still good. But I we've seen so much Hypercrypt in recent times. It's nice to I say if they go and play the other one, that's fine. Just go play the shooty one, have fun. Right, John, got some excitement here.
Wow. So big change for the Orcs is they fixed how a war operates now. It's not at the start of a battle round. It is in your command phase.
Beautiful thing.
And then as a result, the Bully Boys secondary war is just in a turn you haven't called the war, and that's all it is in your command phase as well. So it's nice and simple.
Yeah, fantastic. Just much more agency again for Orc players. Means you don't get stuck using it basically as a defensive invuln on a truck for a turn.
Yeah.
And what about the Big Hunt?
They've pseudo fixed the Big Hunt. I'm not convinced it's enough, but it used to be you had to go down a tree of which things were eligible, but straight away characters are now an eligible target for them.
Interesting. Oh, that's a massive opening up of what they can.
So it gives them a bit more choice, but at the same time, in certain games it might not matter, but in other games I think it'll hugely matter if they're led by if every unit's a character unit.
Yeah, that's
I was about to say that. Is it units as well? That
it is. It says character unit, so it will be.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. That just means it's very, very, very good. There's a lot of application. Obviously, the Big Hunt's main problems are fitting squigs in places rather than what they do when they get there.
And one of their strats was you had to only target, I think, the prey. That's one's even bigger. I think that was specifically that's problem. Now it is you have to charge it, but you can also charge other stuff as well.
Absolutely.
So you can multi-charge now, which is nice.
Sam Dunn in the chat asked, how much better do we think this makes orcs? Does it change builds, or does it just make general orkiness less turn 1 dependent?
I think it's really good. I think the command phase thing. So I think if you go first as an orc player, you've got you've got a higher chance of winning. If you're going second, you had a much less chance of winning if your opponent was savvy.
Yeah,
it takes that away completely. So in 50% of games, you'll have a much increased chance of winning.
Yeah, and I mean this coupled with the AOC change. Yeah, orcs hate AOC
because going second
absolutely hate it.
I hated it.
So I think their raw power goes up enormously in a world where you can only AOC one activation, because orcs are, we were talking about melee, blah blah blah, one-on-ones, etc. Forget that for orcs. Orcs are going to connect into you with half an army, right?
Yeah.
So AOC is not going to help you now, and that's pretty scary, I think.
And then Gazgul's ability is if the war is active for your army.
Okay.
Which is subtly different. So if you've got the war active, but it's the secondary war, it still would trigger Gazgul's.
Oh, okay. So he's good in Bully Boys with 2 goes. Yeah, okay. Nice.
Oh, cool.
That's very cool. Yeah, because it used to be like if you called the war that battle round or something, didn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's keep it on rolling.
Space Marines.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Well, if only I had someone on hand who'd done all of this and covered all of this today somehow already.
Yep. So
do I know that person? Go on then, John.
Oath of Moment's changed.
Yeah.
If you're not playing a Deviant chapter, so Black Templars, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Deathwatch, or Space Wolves, you now get +1 to your wound roll against your Oath target. If only there was a way to have 2 Oath targets in a.
Yeah, there is one non-compliant or compliant chapter that's going to like that more than others.
The Ultramarines.
So I played against this today. It's good.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good. It adds up real quick.
It's nicer than the reroll, I think, because you don't have to roll dice. It just makes it more likely that you're going to succeed on your dice rolls you do roll.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then Gladius has had the Fire Discipline dunked one
step
further. This feels like we've just killed it last time round. Let's just smother it now.
Yeah.
It's basically, they've changed it so your Dev Doctrine used to be giving you lethals on 5s. It's now you can re-roll advance rolls made for that unit.
Yeah,
you didn't advance those units a lot of the time. It didn't really matter.
No,
it's just like, but it's missing. It's just they're trying to deter people always having it in every single list, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we've got a couple of very simple things. So the Captain and Gravis Armor's gun, the Mastercrafted Heavy Bolt Rifle, is now damage 3.
Oh, fun!
Nice.
Why not?
So,
yeah, go for it. Live your dream.
And then I'm going to skip the characters for now because I'll do them all together. Heavy Intercessors, their heavy bolts become hitting on 3s, which is nice. The Infernus squad.
It's damage 2, John. They go to damage 2. Damage 2 as well. Damage 2 on the bolt rifles.
On the bolt rifles. I missed that. There you go.
So that unit just shits out damage 2 now.
And then the Infernus are now AP -1.
Yep.
And combined with that, they now have, when they force you to do a battle shock test, the battle shock test is actually a -1. So it's not just a nothing burn.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. Yeah.
And then Inceptors have just been corrected so that it's in your movement phase and a 6-inch deep strike.
Nice.
Then Intercessors have gained a new ability. So not just having sticky objectives, they now have, each time they select to shoot, they can use this ability. If they're shooting all of their bolt rifles at the same target, they get an extra 2 attacks each.
Oh, that's
so
fun.
They are just going to clear chaff, and it's really great.
Yeah, that's fun.
Makes sense.
Just hoover up anything that's dropped in behind to do homers or whatever.
Outriders are now have lost their turbo boost, which was the flat 6 advance. That now is replaced with, if they make a charge, they improve their strength and damage characteristics of their attacks by 1.
Okay.
Ooh,
so they've got damage 2 chainswords, which I think is really quite scary.
Yeah, that's very
How many points have Outriders nowadays, John?
90, I want to say. 90 or 80. They're cheap. So,
yeah, that's certainly interesting.
Yeah. And then Predator Annihilators
means they can genuinely go toe to toe in early skirmishes and stuff, which I think is good.
Especially if they're in detachments like Company of Hunters, which we just saw has been given a glow up, or the Lion's Blade, which encourages use of mounted.
Yeah.
And then we've got Predator Annihilators are now re-rolling their damage roll as well against vehicles and monsters.
Yeah, no harm. Just another cheap anti-tank tank.
And then Reaver squads are now when they force you to do a battle shot test when you're within engagement range of them, it's now a -1.
Yep.
And if you're within 3 inches of a model in this unit, you are -1 to your OC.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's pretty good. It doesn't work on monsters and vehicles, but that's fine. And then we've got all of the Codex compliant characters. So Lysander, Feros, Cantor, and Crossora Khan and Caven Shrike. They've each got units that, if they're in the army with them, they gain OC. So the Outriders,
I really enjoy that.
Khan get OC 3.
Yeah.
The Heavy Intercessors with Feros gain OC 3. Everyone else gives OC 2.
Yeah.
As long as they're not battle shocked. And it's really kind of cool.
I think that's
and they've done it with what's his name? Vulcan Hestan as well with Infernus Marines. So you can now play as Salamanders with OC 2 flamers that do battle shock at -1. So suddenly that sounds quite a scary concept.
I think that's fun. I mean, there's so many ways you can build with this, right? It really appeals, and they've jacked up all of those units, all the special units that might go for one of those legions chapters.
Yeah,
is better.
Yes,
and they've got another layer of making it better with the character.
And they
I was very curious how they'd fix it, but that coupled with the oath change just means that all those units are deceptively dangerous at fighting now if they're attacking the oath target, which is really cool.
Lovely change, really good.
Beautiful.
Change.
It's just a shame that Ultramarines are also included in this. And what's happened for them, John?
Just before we skip it as well, the Repulse is now capacity 7 for them as well, the Black Templars.
Sure.
Gilliman can now do the Author of the Codex ability twice. So he's got 3 options. He can pick one of them twice, cool. 2 of them. Yeah, so one of them is having a second oath, and normally he didn't bother the other 2.
You imagine that's going to be the one we'll see, right? Because that's
and
2 auras of reroll hits +1 to wound.
Yeah, pretty good.
So I love this for everything except the Ultramarines, where they've snuck in because they are pretending to be one of the special, the standard Marines, and they're not, are they? They get
just
so much.
They wrote the book.
They get so much. They get so much special stuff already. They're already good. We've already seen some Ultramarines lists running around in this edition. We haven't seen any of the others.
Yeah.
And of course, as happens every time when we try and help Marines out, there's something in here that benefits too much, and it's the only thing those Marine players actually play. And they reveal they didn't actually care about making their Salamanders better. They just wanted to find something jammy to leverage. In this case, it's going to be Ultramarines, unfortunately. So I think Ultramarines are going to be a bit scary. And there's a little change to Stern Guard as well. Yes. They reroll the wound roll now. That's fun.
Yes, into the oath target. So
they
can be led by. They can be in an army with Pedro Cantor, which gives them OC2.
Beautiful.
They could. You'll find them probably.
I've got some Stern Guard in my garage. I could paint them as Crimson Fist to go with my Pedro.
Oh yeah.
So OC2,
and then never
that'd
feel
be nice. But in reality, I think we'll see Ultramarine Vanguard lists taking them to babysit their Euroventress because they won't be doing the bomb with the Eradicators anymore. They'll do that instead. That's a shame. And then it goes and touches on combat blades and knives. So it lists off a million different
units, in Ultramarines,
all the Phobos stuff.
Yeah, cool.
It's gained AP1. So
nice. That's good. An AP1. That's a pretty good buff.
It helps.
The era of -1 save and I don't die might be over, guys. People might be getting stabbed now.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Consequences to my action.
I think that's okay. Space Wolves, nothing really. Thousand Suns, nothing really.
Not really, I don't think.
Tau, literally nothing. I do feel for Tower players. They've had nothing to be excited about.
Predator Annihilators, Tom.
Yeah, okay. maybe. It's not what I'd immediately think for Thousand Suns, but you never know.
Oh. Should we skip this one? This is NIDS. It's not important,
right? Yeah, no one knows what NIDS, right?
We normally get told off that we don't have an expert when we do one of these.
If only we had an expert we could turn to talk about NIDS.
JP wasn't free, unfortunately.
Oh, brutal. Go on then, Davey.
Oh, that's brutal.
That's a zinger.
Well, you know what's interesting about this is the GSE obviously changes, which is huge and enormous. Tyranids, pretty much every single Dataslate have significant changes, which generally speaking, I'm a big fan of. I've never seen the changes when I've been like, well, that's a bit shit. It's always been pretty cool.
Yeah.
And this, if you like a simulation swarm, is no different. So I can't quite see the text because it's so small on my screen. But if I remember rightly, the biggest change is the simulation detachment. You regain D3 plus 1 wounds instead of just D3. So that's nice. It means you're not just getting 1 or whatever. And well, actually, let's give some context to what this detachment does. So this detachment, previously, you had to be on an objective and with a harvester unit, which was like 4 different units that no one took in any other list. They were pretty rubbish units, all with flaws.
They are, yeah.
So anyway, these 4 units now, they had to be on an objective, and you could then point at another unit that had lost wounds, and they got to regain wounds. Now they regain D3 plus 1. The other bit didn't change. You can respawn endless multitude unit 3 models, but the big thing now, you don't need to be on an objective. So these armies tend to have 6, 7, maybe even 8. There'll be some crazy lads who are taking all sorts of these harvester units and just pointing at each other like the Spider-Man meme, going, "You get heals, you get heals, you get heals," and everyone's just going to regain D3 plus 1 wounds. On top of that, you might see here the non-assimilator got the keyword. What's really cool is the non-assimilator is difficult to kill, and it wasn't being taken because it was more expensive than the non-emissary. So really interesting. I mean, it still is, but it's come down in points. And that's got the harvester keyword, so that's really cool. So overall, there were the key things. And then after that, the Trigon lost its 3-inch deep strike. And I think that's it.
Yeah, that is.
So yeah, if you're into Simulation Swarm, this is going to be awesome. It's not my not my cup of tea. Maybe someone will create a really cool list with it. But for me, it's buffing pretty mid boring units. Feels like NIDS is a lot of keeping alive, and this is another way of keeping alive. But hey ho, it's nice to see the hat. I'm really keen. My non-assimilator here that I've got is going to get a game this weekend.
Let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. I just think the NIDS book has had a lot, and they've been given a lot, and they've been tweaked and changed a lot. NIDS have had a lot of love. They've been well looked after. This is a bit more of that, and this is a dull data slate for NIDS.
Yeah,
in comparison, because that's how good some of the previous ones have been. And it's still basically trying to open up another way to play the army.
Which is awesome, right? It's so cool. Like I like the way they've gone at this. Every single detachment, like anything that was really like not taken, they've really tried to push it.
Yeah.
There's a sly nerf to Synaptic Nexus. Obviously, the best strat in that detachment was AOC. So that taking a hit is a shame, but actually that's what I'm taking this weekend. So I still like that detachment.
Yeah. And unlike Tau, who have had one-way damaged with the change to Ret Cadre, but haven't had anything given to them here at all. Yeah. Poor old Tau. A bit more Tau sympathy, because I can see Jack in the chat and he wanted some Tau sympathy. Oh, righty. Then World Eaters, so this was quite fun. I don't know if anyone was aware of it.
It's Joseph's fault.
They'd done a clever nudge to the Demon Prince before so that you couldn't... It was giving like jackals a big carpet of invul or something, right? And they'd adjusted the wording once to stop it from happening. But if you went with go to ground, you could get it back to the invul, because it would have an invul which would then boost back up to 4. So they adjusted it so you can't do that. I think that's fine. I don't care for Jackal Horde.
But am I right in saying that you now get 4 up invuls on 8-bound?
Yeah,
which is
that's pretty spicy.
Give some, you take some, and that's a really cool, really cool idea.
Nice reason to take a World Eaters Demon Prince.
Did think about that this weekend.
And they also gained the Predator Annihilator.
It's the Oprah Winfrey moment of the data slate, right?
Look, I've played like 2 editions of this game where the old tanks never got a look in, and they've just tried. I think they've almost just about brought the only one that we've not seen back to relevance.
Are you not getting the deja vu of these Vanguard veterans are very good. Oh, these are very good. Oh, let's just
but it was
stop
never
selling
the tanks, John. It was just To be fair, it
might
might be their last hurrah.
Smelling the last hurrah.
It might be their last hurrah.
Are you kidding? Horus Heresy stonks, man.
That's
Horus Heresy sales have got why? So many people are buying lots of tanks for Horus Heresy.
Dimos pattern Rhino chassis. I wonder why. And that is it.
Wonderful. Okay, that's a lot. Let's move it along.
That's the last page, Tom.
Thank you for that, John. I mean, we can talk through points changes. There weren't vast amounts of points changes for armies this time. It was more light touch, right?
Which is pretty cool.
I think Guard got some rises that were pretty painful. I think Drakari got some rises that surprised me a little bit on Grotesque and Scourge.
It felt weird to me, that one.
Yeah. Orcs got tiny points rises on the war bosses, who I guess become stonks now that you can call a war whenever. Necron's got some points shift arounds, a few, like 10 here and there, nothing too drastic. GSC got quite substantial rises. The Abominant went up 20. The Ridge Runners went up 10. So that does basically take a unit out of the Broodstones list. So Broodstones has changed a lot. I think it's definitely less powerful than it was. I wonder about Host of Ascension now instead, but it's still great. Tiger Shark went up 50 points.
Yeah.
Woof.
That 5-point increase on the Nemesis Dread Knight as well. I'm not sure what a difference that's going to currently make, but
I know. Unreal. Brad's very angry about Doomsday Arcs in the chat, and I know, crazy. Doomsday Arcs have had a very good few months. They really nailed it. There's changes, as we've discussed, cheaper Trigon, cheaper Tyrant Guard, cheaper Norn, so targeting that Assimilation Swarm. So it's just, there's nothing radical here. 5 points off Thunderkin is quite fun for Votan, getting them back down to something slightly more relevant. Eldar get no changes at all. There wasn't anything radical in Chaos, I don't think. Just tiny tweaks left and right.
Yeah.
It's really, the points are not really where the changes are this time.
No.
And I think that's okay, because I feel like they've got their eye in with the points, right?
And originally, I was expecting this to mostly be points, and then it's actually ended up being quite rules heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, without doing a pin the tail on the, or pin the win rate on the faction or whatever, who's the biggest winners here, guys?
That's actually a very good question.
Ultramarines.
Ultramarines feel very good. It's just having the rerolls in two places. Yeah. It doesn't take a genius to figure out the kinds of things you might do if you could have a bunch of rerolls doing one job, let's say at the back of your army, and then a bunch of rerolls doing another job at the front, and those rerolls had +1 to wound, and also whatever you were shooting at maybe couldn't AOC to absorb all of, let's say, maybe there's 3 of them, maybe they shoot indirect. I don't know what sorts of things Ultramarine player might want to use. But if you had 3 whirlwinds with
that would be a whirlwind,
4 rerolls to hit and +1 to wound, and you could only OC against one of them, that would add up.
Is that what's coming?
Might be.
It might not be indirect. They might just.
I don't know. I think that's my. Oh, we have a super chat from Colton Souza. Thank you so much, Colton. And do keep the super chats and questions coming, guys. We're very happy to answer them whilst we're here. We're happy to kick around. Do you think we'll see armies for Dark Angels besides Gladius, John?
I think we're going to see a lot of people trying Company of Hunters.
Okay,
I think we're going to see Lion's Blade being the one, because people seem still looking at that going quite excitedly. I can play with all my toys.
Yeah, because that's the proper. I think there's a few from this Grotmas where it's like it works with a whole bunch of stuff, so it's fun, right?
Yeah.
And I guess some of the buffs in this slate help it, like Outriders buffs, Black Knights buffs.
Oh gosh, yeah.
All of that benefits.
Samael having an actual ability really helps.
Yeah.
He was already good, and now he's great. So
yeah, I think I agree with that. I think that will make complete sense.
Man, Nottingham's going to be wild, eh?
Going to be completely bonkers. Fireside Podcast is in the chat saying a whirlwind of possibilities. They know. They already know where this is going. Yeah. It doesn't take a genius. When you can do that and have your frontline shooting getting 4 rerolls and +1 to wound as well, there's just no reason not to, right?
I'm just going to stand on my hill and say there's not a problem with Marine indirect armies, because there wasn't a problem with indirect guard armies.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think Ultras make out big here. Yeah. I do think GSC are still great. I think they've got away with one. I think they'll be pretty solid. It just needs a bit of a respec.
Should we be concerned about armigers going down and the small knights?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it'll be okay. There's still enough stuff out there that hoovers them up.
Both indexes for the Imperial Knights don't really have enough play still. I think they're just very honest in how they play.
Yeah.
Ola Bankson says, will non-Ultramarines, Codex Marines like this change? I'm betting not. Yeah, so I mean, I have alluded to this before because I saw this coming. It's like Ultramarines shouldn't be treated as the same as the other compliant Marines, because they're not. They're just not. They
actual units.
Support of an actual, they've got more than enough support to function in their own right.
Yeah.
And obviously, what's happened here is something that's leveraged and aimed at getting some flavour and fluff out of the other ones. Just benefits them wildly more.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Well, we'll move forwards, and maybe they should just get their own book. That'd be fun.
They did briefly, remember?
Yeah.
They did something for all of them.
I'm surprised we've not seen more like tyrannic vets come out. Maybe we will at some point, because that feels like, I mean, you're doing the tyrannic war type thing. Like they used to have that. This would be a no-brainer.
Resin models got binned.
No-brainer to give them some tyrannic models. Literally, you could base them off all the ones from the new video game, all that stuff. So Ultras just need a little bit more rounding out, then they can just separate them from the other ones.
Agreed.
Anyway, let's not worry about that too much. I don't think there's anything too wild. Necrons are obviously very good.
Yep.
Their new detachment looks spicy, and that's still going to be great. Sisters, look, I've just seen that they took yet more hits on the Castigator and Exorcist.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Oh, they've had a bad time. Sisters have had a bad time. I think Sisters and Guard have definitely both had a bad time.
Yeah.
Custodies on the up is interesting. I'm curious to see if they can hang. Admech, I think, are very good. I think Admech is army with good tools and a lot of stuff. They've won by standing still here, so I think Admech look really good. Gordon Chung says, "Or other chapters need more characters?" Yeah, I think they do, and more special units. In the long term, we know once they've done BA, Space Force, Dark Angels, they could do that for those. It's just whether they'd rather go back round those again. I hope they start fleshing out all of the different ones. I'd go nuts for like salamanders or
Khan having a bike,
Crimson Fist. Yeah, imagine Khan getting a flipping bike. Look, he's got a bird. What more does he want?
He buffs bikes, but he can't be on a bike himself.
Oh yeah, I mean he can appreciate a good bike. That doesn't mean he wants to drive one.
He hasn't got his license. Comes on a scooter.
Donald carry us. They have the tradition where we see scatter dice come back. Why not? Yeah, let's do it. Do it. Why not?
Please, no.
Roll the dice on it. It'll be fine. Thanks everyone who's been with us thus far. Please do hit the old like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps us out a lot. Do leave us a comment. I don't know how much more there is to pick over. Like little rises on Space Force there, tiny.
Yeah.
Tau just caught the Tiger Shark nerf and nothing else. I think in general we're seeing a much more like fine-tuned approach to points balancing. It's not like everything changes for its own sake now. If things are sort of fine, they get left. This is the first time World Eaters have avoided being preemptively nerfed.
Yes.
So that's interesting.
And it always felt a little heavy-handed at times.
No, I think it was just right. They've always placed well. They've placed well across the edition World Eaters, and they've never got out of hand. So I think that's pretty good.
But was it they didn't get out of hand because of the nerfs? Do we think that's?
Yeah, I would say so. A lot of people have been trying them. And just going to have a brief look at the old.
I can imagine when they're OP as well, it's very oppressive in the meta.
For sure.
The points changes for Marines have meant that things like Scouts become a question mark, which is interesting because they became too much of a staple and were left alone last time. Completely. But with Reavers going down, it's now like, do you take Reavers over Scouts? Which is quite exciting.
We did have a couple of questions in podcast questions, which I might as well read out here. We had Theo asking, what kind of pathway do you think GSC will lead to? I think GSC can play all of those detachments except the Guard one. They can play Outlander, they can play Bio, they can play Host, they can play Xeno, and they're all good.
That's a lovely place.
They're all solid. I don't know if this is going to still be top of the meta solid, but I think they're all still good.
Playable at least, right?
Yeah, completely playable and good and fun and interesting. So they've done a great job. They've managed to get GSC. I was assuming GSC would be put back into the ground, right?
Yeah,
that's normally what happens. But they've managed to duck that. And I think there's a lot to like about this, and they may still end up too strong. That's what I've guessed with. When we were doing Pin the Win, I absolutely guessed it. Oh, Martin Dawes in. He's got a super chat for us. Thank you, Martin. Not sure if I missed it early, but what's the thoughts on Death Guard in the new meta? They very much stood still, but weren't in a bad place previously. Yeah, I do feel good for Death Guard. I think we talked about it on the show yesterday. I think Play Company just is good, and I think Worsening Saves is even better when AOC can only work for one round. And Play Company is incredibly flexible in terms of how it debuffs things and plays into different matchups. I really like Mixed Arms, Play Company, and again, I'm telling you guys, 6 Predators in CSM or Death Guard just feels pretty good, like pretty competitive. Whether or not people will actually do it, it's a lot of backline shooting behind, I don't know, 18 Death Shroud. You can have you can have those things. You can have all that stuff. That goes in a list. So yeah, I feel pretty good about Death Guard. Is the answer? I think they'll be all right. I think they'll be pretty solid. I think the new one. I think that new detachment of theirs is a great skew for teams. But I think it'll be a bit of a bridesmaid in singles. I just don't think it's quite going to make it all the way. I mean, certainly not. It's not getting past Ultramarines, is it? I don't think Ultramarines give a shit about stealth with full rerolls on everything. You're just dead. You are just dead. So yeah. So I think they'll be good. Death Guard never get to the very top, so surely not this time. I can't call it. Sandun says, "Please stop pressuring me to buy and build 6 Predators." No one's making you build 6 Predators. Right. Well, so if we could field Marines with 6 Predators.
Yeah.
Thousand Suns with 6 Predators. Death Guard with 6 Predators.
World Eaters.
Can World Eaters take the Destructor?
Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got them ready.
Perfect. So you can field a 30 Predator ITT team.
So what you do is you take all the.
That's the most important thing here. Is someone wherever you are for the next ITT bring 30 Predators and call your team 30 Predators, and I'll shake your hands. No reason not to.
Team versus Predators.
The future is now, old man. Sam says it's sounding like a hell of a bad idea. Yeah, look, I think it does depend a bit on the army. I think CSM will get the most from it, just because theirs can be the most consistent in their shooting.
Yeah.
But there's no reason that can't work in Death Guard. Death Guard do like gun line behind wall of bodies.
This is making me think that 6 Predators, 3 Whirlwinds, Gilliman in Ironstorm.
Mm-hmm. Pretty horrible, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of firstborn boys driving cars.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. So it's going to get pretty wild.
With Ventress going.
It's going to get pretty wild. I'm curious, people in the chat, did you like the Dataslate? I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty enthused. I think there's a lot to like. I think it's been ambitious. I think they've given an awful lot to Space Marines, and we will see. Because Space Marines just were fine anyway.
Yeah.
I'm curious about Sandguard getting a bit cheaper, if that ends up being a big deal for Blood Angels, or if they stay more or less what they are.
But are they that good?
No, they haven't been. They've been merely fine. But Sandguard getting cheaper is helpful. And Valentin says it's going to reset the meta, which is nice. I completely agree, Valentin. I think it's just a huge, between this and the Grotmus detachment, it's a huge shake-up. That's awesome. I'm very excited for Nottingham, where who knows what you'll play. Could be anything. Could be anything at all.
It really is going to be a big pool of ideas.
Yeah.
A rootin' tootin' Wild
100%.
West.
Absolutely. All right, guys, you have all been amazing. I think that's our Dataslate coverage done. Our Grotmus and Dataslate marathon continues. We're making it through this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do hit like and subscribe. Please do leave us a comment. Remember, if you want to support us in our content quest, you can sign up as a YouTube member as well. And we really, really relish every single one of you that's signed up so far. We'd love to get some more before Christmas time. Thank you so much. Enjoy all these changes. Get out there and play it. Have fun. Go and get +1 to wound against something with your salamanders. If that's what you like, I'm here for it. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.